already set up and ready to go. So I'm going to throw it right over to Junior for some SSX Tricky. Junior, whenever you are ready, it's all you.
Alrighty. Hi, hello. I'm Junior, as you heard. And yeah, I'm going to be going through all the tracks in SSX Tricky, but without any wormholes. I'm just going as fast as I can with, for the most part, all intended strats. If I'm correct, KRE is the winner of the bid war, the character bid war, right?
I will do one more refresh, but I believe so. Yes.
Awesome. Not only is she one of my favorites in this game, but she's also very easy and consistent due to having better jump height and like good acceleration.
It's always great when chat gives you the easy bid war option, isn't it?
You can say that again. Alright, so initially you had to go through all the tracks in order, but recently in the last couple months it was re-ruled that you can just do them in whatever order you want, so that's exactly what I'll be doing. And I'll be starting with the hardest and going in reverse order for me, difficulty-wise. So,
do you just run it in that order because you're more likely to reset on a harder track? So just put those earlier? Or is it...
That's exactly why.
You'll Seems reasonable to me.
I'll give a countdown and then we're good. 3, 2, 1, start. Alright, so for those who don't know, SSX Tricky, it's the sequel, 2001 sequel to the 2000 PS2 launch title, SSX OG. It's largely the same, but has a couple new tracks, more quality of life, more characters, a couple removed ones, and like, a little bit more tech, while mainly carrying over what was in the past game. So right out the gate, you're going to see me do a lot of what I named tweak cancels. I got knocked over by Brody, so I'm gonna need to use another to like, okay, no. Let me see if I can get up here. Nah, the AI got in my way, but that's okay. But what you'll see me do is a lot of things like that, where I do a trick, wait for the initial animation to finish, and then I hit the tweak button for like a frame or two, just enough to get the tweak, but also fast enough that it cancels the trick outright while I'm still gaining points and boost. Okay, hold on. Okay, I both got and didn't get the upper path. I'll take that. But normally you hit the, like, you land inside the ice, obviously, and it just loops to the top left side of where I am right now. But, yeah, you'll be seeing me do lots of, like, tweak cancels, especially in tracks where I will not be getting, like, all the letters in Tricky. Which, what that does is, when you get all of them, then you get infinite boost for the rest of the level, as a reward for landing 6 super trips. Alright, let me try and land up here. Oh, not quite. I was trying to do some, like, platforming through those so I could hit the rail, but I just barely missed the rail. Something I should mention, since you see the AI right here, is that this game has, like, aggressively rubber banding AI, so oftentimes the AI will be, like, right around you, and then even if you're, like, doing, like, optimal strats and optimal lines, they can, and oftentimes will, catch up to you. Right here I can introduce a little bit of what bunny hopping is, which is just jumping through the powder. Oops. Let me just get some more boost here. Right there with that crowd, like, you can actually phase through them, but I'm not doing it right now because, partially because I'm low on boost, and also because I wanted to align myself for this jump right here. That jump is incredibly tight to land, even if you're going at max speed. So, like, even if you do get, like, the jump through the crowd, sometimes your lineup afterwards might just not let you hit it and hit the crowd warp and, well, hit the crowd jump, I should say, and hit that big jump after. But yeah, as you can see, I have full Tricky right now, so I get to just maintain boost for the rest of this track. And as this is pretty much like another like 40 seconds of nothing, I'd say if like the host or anyone has any like messages they want to say, now's a pretty good time. I've been rambling nonstop.
Yeah, we have a $5 donation from Nitro that says, "Yo, yo, yo, Junior, go get him."
Thank you, Nitro. I appreciate that.
So far, it seems like you are in fact getting him. That $5 puts us at 55 out of 150 for the bonus tracks.
Nice.
So we've got about 25 more minutes until estimate. So probably plenty of time to get those bonus tracks. So you know more about this game than me in that you've played it more than 0 times. So the question on my mind is why should people donate for those bonus tracks? What about them is special and fun to watch?
Okay, well, I'll say Pipe Dream is a pretty straightforward track since it's made to be a show-off track where you aim for the highest score as possible. So as a result, when you're racing through it, it's basically just like a 40-second straight line. But, oh, I missed the knockdown. Untracked is one of my favorite tracks in both this game and the original SSX OG, and the reason for that is, I didn't mention it, but there are... that work out? I guess so. Well, as I was saying before Sia got in the way, there are tons of different kinds of like terrain. There's like regular green snow. Zoe landed on me. That's okay. These AI are being aggressive this round, but I can be aggressive back. So yeah, there's regular green snow. It just interacts how you'd expect it to. There's ice, which increases your acceleration, and that's lame. The ice increases your acceleration, but also decreases your handling. So it's something you have to be very cautious about when you're on it, and like you have to put your lines for it. And powder, which is arguably my favorite terrain, is like it increases your grip, it increases your overall handling. But the downside is it makes you go a lot slower. So what you have to do to mitigate that is do what's known as like bunny hopping or jump strats, which you jump constantly in the powder, and as you do that, you lift yourself up out of it, and you maintain like max speed, 74 miles an hour through that. So if Untracked was met, then you would see a lot of that since that's the entire track. Oh, it's all powder.
Interesting.
Here's a small little... Okay, cool. A little random UFO that just takes you like 20 seconds forward in the track that I can chain with a select warp, which is just hitting like the button to like reset myself and land in a really good position. That's very good to get, especially RTA. Now these windmills are tough because they're constantly operating on random cycles at random speeds, and if you hit them, that can happen. It can just warp you out, or it can just stall you, but like in a really slow manner. So that's why I choose to do this track, Mercury City second. There's a lot of like variables and things that can often make things go awry, just things to look out for. Alright, there's one more warp here. Let's exit that tunnel. And then this is about the end of the track.
So this route, you are taking some warps, but no wormholes. What differentiates wormholes from other warps? And is there like a no warps at all category?
I'm glad you asked that, Happy. So, the 3 main categories in SSX, all of the original 3 games, but mainly Tricky and 3, primarily, not even as much OG, have 3 categories. There's clean, there's no wormholes, and there's no restrictions. For clean, it's like none of those, like, you don't do anything, like you don't do any like wormholes or warps. In no wormholes, you're able to do those select warps, but like you're not able to like leave the bounds of the track, so to speak.
It's a shame since you call like nothing clean. I wish the other 2 were like dirty and filthy.
Yeah, there have been some jokes in my stream when I've been playing like different categories of like SSX 3, like especially hacking, it's one of the tracks. And I did like I was doing clean grind, and like everyone was in chat like calling it different categories, like dirty or like
yeah, like clean percent, dirty percent, not safe for work percent, unacceptable percent.
Exactly, but oops. Those
but I guess descriptive category names are helpful.
They can be, even if they're not as funny. So, if you want to see like no warps, no nothing, you would generally be watching a clean run, which are generally some of my favorite to do as well, honestly, because it just tests your ability of like all types of terrain. You can't bail yourself out with anything.
How much longer is clean?
Oh, I can still select warp. Can I get a jump out? Okay, that's fine, that's fine. I hadn't done clean like RTA, like all the races, but no wormholes is like slower than no restrictions by a decent amount. Like I'd be getting like on console like 25 minutes if it's slow, but like if I did wormholes on console, it would probably at least be like 21 or 20. So I think with that logic in mind, like doing clean would probably be about like 2 to 3 minutes slower, if I had to guess. Okay, so my first knockdown. I've been failing them the whole run, but they're very, very important because you knock someone down, your meter instantly fills up and you're able to start doing Uber tricks out the gate. It is like mandatory in this game and in SSX 3 to do like knockdowns when you're doing IL grinds. It's just way too helpful. Alright, so this is Tokyo Megaplex. This is a very fun, whimsical track because you are riding a giant pinball machine. And this track is unique in the sense that it is the only track in the game that it operates in laps. You're going in one major circle, and you're about to see me finish this first lap, and then you'll see text saying, I was about to say it when I hit the fan again. 2 laps to go. It is the only track in this game that has 3 laps, but in an interesting way, I find it kind of fun for that because, like, it's almost easier to learn. You learn, like, the first 40 or so seconds once, and then all it is just doing it 3 times. And as someone who, like, came from, like, Crash Team Racing initially as one of my first speed games, the idea of just doing things in laps repeatedly is, like, something that isn't that hard for me, I should say. But yeah, I'd say, like, since it's mostly just the same for another lap, I can, like, hand it over to, like, anyone who has anything to say right now.
Absolutely. Just a quick reminder, in case anyone's hanging out here and doesn't know that it's happening, there is a Japanese restream. Midwest Speedfest Fall Frenzy is being restreamed in Japanese by our friends over at Japanese Restream. You can find their channel at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. We've worked with them several times now, and we're grateful for all the work they do to bring marathons like ours to a larger audience. That's right. We see you, Japanese Restream. We love you. Y'all are the best.
Right,
I don't know how there are 1,000 people watching right now. It is like 3 a.m. in Japan.
Oh, that's insane. I love
Explain
that.
it.
Something
Go
I
to
should
bed,
mention.
degens.
Generally, like, the way I do Tokyo Megaplex as a result of, like, this track having tons and tons of glitches is I end up just doing it clean. I had to do one warp to get myself out of, like, a bad spot, but, like, if I was doing, like, any other version of the track, I would be doing lots of, like either, like, fan glitches or, like, whatnot that would make the track probably only, like, 20 to 30 seconds. 30 if I was really slow. But naturally, that wouldn't fit in this category. So this is Mesa Blanca. This is a pretty straightforward track. Nice little Wild West aesthetic sunset track. In my opinion, this track got a major uplift from OG, even though that track isn't bad either. I just think this one's more dynamically designed. And this is also a track that does not have, like, does not require me getting tricky. So I'm just going to be doing a lot of tap boosting, which is just when I'm at a good speed, the max speed I can reach, I'm just, like, rapidly tapping the boost button instead of holding it, so I maintain my speed while conserving boost. That's something much more prevalent in OG, but also appears in, like, some tracks like this where I'm not getting full tricky. I'm mainly doing that and lots of tweak cancels to maintain my red boost. And I'll be doing that for the rest of this track. I was doing much of the same in Aloha Ice Jam as well, though I didn't mention it at the time.
So is 74 max? Is that why it keeps, like,
Yeah.
doing the awooga animation every time you hit 74? I can't think of any other way to describe that, but you know what I mean. It's like every time.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad you described it that way. I'm gonna start calling it the awooga effect now. But yes, you are correct. Oops. Cool. Yeah, 74 is max speed, and every time it does the awooga effect, it's because I just hit the maximum speed.
Because, like, my first thought would be like, well, maybe the game was originally in kilometers and that's like 100, but no, that'd be like 119 kilometers per hour. What?
Yes, it's
Do you have
actually
any idea how they
120.
landed on that number?
I think, honestly speaking, this game was likely, don't quote me on this, but was likely made with kilometers in mind first, because the default is kilometers, and
so it is that. It's like,
yeah, and
rounds
like,
up to 120.
yes, it rounds up to 120, but then when it converts to, like, miles, it goes down to 74. SSX 3, though, for some reason, maybe they just wanted to make it neater, they changed 74 to 75, but kilometers is still maxed out at 120, so they didn't change anything, they just modified the units a bit.
Interesting.
That's
the kind of math I'm good at.
Yeah.
Just picking numbers and putting units on them and saying, yeah, good enough.
So real. But yeah, this is Elysium Alps. This is the longest track in, like, actually, I believe this is the longest track outside of Alaska, like, as a whole. But it's much, much, much easier because this is a beginner track. It's like the third track in the game. So the beginning has, like, some stuff that I have to worry about a little bit here and there, but for the most part, especially where I'm at now, I can mostly just turn my brain off and hold some straight lines, and you'll see in a minute. Just hold some, do some tight jumping right here. Well, not exactly here, but once I hit the select warp, then I'll be in an area that's just all about. Okay. There. You can hit that with one select warp, but it's incredibly precise. So doing two usually helps there because the first one aligns you for the second warp, which then throws you into the ice river, which aims back up to here, this upper path. Alright. Alright, and another warp coming up. All right. Now I'm gonna try a really tight line right here, squeezing through the bottom of the crowd. Cool, I got it. That's really precise, like extremely precise. So I'm glad I got that.
Oh, yeah, that looks tough.
Now the rest of this track is pretty straightforward. It's literally just using my max speed on a bunch of straightaways. One warp here, otherwise. Oops, I don't need to hold down the jump button. But otherwise, yeah, that's it.
Nice.
The track I'm about to do next is Snow Dream, which was originally the first track in the game, in like OG. I'm glad I got that jump tight. That jump well because it's tight, I should say. But it was completely redesigned from the original, from OG. And it's still a track I adore. Okay, 3 minutes, not a bad time at all. But yeah, since this is like a pretty, like this is like the second track you can do, it's really straightforward. It's pretty short too. But it's fun and it's got some good music in my opinion. Though this whole game does. I will be hitting JP so that I can get full tricky out the gate. Knockdowns are fun.
Just the absurdity of like the exact second that you come out of the gate, you just punch both people with one punch. And everyone's like, yeah, we're fine with this.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more SSX than that.
I mean, it's not cheating. They could have punched you too.
Yeah, they could have done it back. Therefore, it's allowed.
Yeah.
No moral or ethical dilemmas there at all.
No.
All right, and cool. I almost did not land on that, but we're good. And now I'm basically just holding this straight. Alright, now I'm going to be cutting through tons of powder here. And then going for a tight rail after it. Let's see if I can nab this. Okay, cool. Awesome. Alright, that's Snow Dream. Simple track, but very fun. Okay, a 151. Not bad, not bad. And that leaves us off with Garibaldi, the first track. I choose to do this last part because it's easy, but also because there's a glitch finish you can nab at the very end. Time will obviously be at the end of this track. So what I will do at the end, first I'll beat them both up. Didn't even need the second one, I just needed the space. But what I'll be doing at the end is I'll be doing a really hard carve to the right, going into deep powder, and then I'll just be like holding that angle up until I do one big jump at the end. And the reason this works is because the finish line extends out much, much, much further than you'd initially think. So you essentially get the ability to like put down on major turns at the end. I was thinking that might happen. Bumping that little lip. That doesn't happen often. You can oftentimes just avoid that, but sometimes it will just knock you up into the air like that. I think that's a little bit of marathon luck for you, but it's funny, so. Alright, I do a warp there. And now I'm just going to jump over that massive rock because I don't feel like turning over it. Okay, cool. Another successful warp put me back on the track. But I'm immediately going back off. And now it's just for a series of straightforward select warps. So I cut down on unneeded airtime. This track is very fun because the sheer amount of powder means there's a lot of like off-beaten paths that you can take. Oh, I did that warp a little too early, just a bit. Cool. This is where it would have put me, so not a huge loss at all. Alright, the glitch finish is coming up, so time will probably be in about 5 seconds or so. Alright. And time.
Nice. GG's.
Thank you. I'm very glad that I was able to show off SSX Tricky at all at Midwest Speed Test.
Well done. Victory is yours.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Very clean run.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun running this game. I should say that like I like to dabble in like most of the games in the series since I played them all, but like I mainly especially love the speed running, like the original 3, especially the first 2. They just do it for me in a way I can't explain. They're very satisfying, very stylish, good level design, and they're not too hard. They're like easy to pick up, but very hard to master. So like, I personally, I'm obviously biased, but I would recommend these games to anyone who would be interested in like speedrunning any racing games, especially any like old ones that are like not really, things like this don't really exist anymore. I would recommend it.
Absolutely.
What's it called?
Where can people find you if they crave more SSX content?
You can find me at twitch.tv/junior_SM. I haven't been streaming as much recently. Been very busy with like college and whatnot, but I do tend to stream one of the SSX games if I'm learning them. There's a non-zero chance I might start streaming some like Final Fantasy 14 raids or whatnot too, since I'd be like binging that game when I'm not speedrunning. We'll see how I feel, but yeah, I'm usually like when I'm streaming, I'm usually doing like either record grinds, world record grinds, PB grinds, or learning something new entirely. And if anyone's interested at all in like SSX, any of them as a speed game, I know that the SSX3 Discord, SSX3 speedrun server. I'm brain farting. Okay, the SSX3speedrun.com page has a link to the SSX Discord server, and that is where basically all of the people who love SSX, whether casually, competitively, or as a modder or like anything like that, can come together and like chat or learn new things and whatnot. So I would recommend joining if that calls to anyone. But yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for the great run. Thanks for hanging out, and we're going to throw y'all over to an intermission for just a second, confirm that the next run is set up, and we will get into it in just a few minutes.